And Seiji, you're now the host.
I'm guessing that means you're leaving.
I got to
Have a good night.
I'd love to stay, but I have
of course, man.
I have another meeting, unfortunately. But yeah, I've already set the live stream going, so you don't have to do anything. Just
stop the live stream and.
No. You can just click end meeting and it just stops itself.
Ah, cool. All right.
Cool. Ciao. Have a good one.
Cool. See you, man. Alex Rivas, I cannot answer that here.
Hi, Seiji.
Hey.
Am I the first question?
When did you guys move? When did you guys move to this new place? This is really cool.
Oh no, this is the office, but this is actually the cafeteria of the office. It's like this is the only
nice.
air right now because I don't know what the building turns off the air on the weekend or something. So we were like, we have to go downstairs to watch class.
Oh, cool. Is that in where is the office? I don't think I've seen it.
It's called Country Club. It's like on Americas Avenida.
Oh, right. That's usually a riding place. Interesting. Horseback riding.
Plaza Patria.
Right. Cool. Oh, it seems that we have some questions. Can you share the connection of logic, commandment, emptiness, and compassion? Oh my God. Okay, I don't know what command.
Maybe it's commitment.
Commitment. Okay.
Maybe,
cool.
I don't know.
The connection between logic, commitment. Okay. I'm not, to preface this, I'm not, this I'll have to think about it. The connection between compassion and emptiness, that one is easy, right? That's the love with nothing it sees. It's good to have compassion, but if we understand where people are coming from or that they don't have a nature of their own, then you can have a much deeper practice. Logic and commitment. I guess commitment, I would see commitment as part of compassion, since your purpose is to help people, then you need the commitment. Joey, can you tell a little bit more about, is there a specific text that you're referring to? And logic, I would say, well, definitely compassion. So, as you know, you need. Sorry. What were we talking about? Logic. Oh, yeah. So you need two main things to reach enlightenment, right? So you need, on one hand, you need compassion, and on the other one, emptiness. Logic helps you get to a deeper understanding on emptiness, which is, for example, they say that the last topic that you, the topic that helps you a lot to get to the direct perception of emptiness is on logic, on Chi-Chedrak, which we've seen in Adam's text, I think 4 terms ago. Check it out, it's really, really cool. So logic, I would say, takes to commitment, to emptiness, sorry. Commitment helps your help grow your compassion, and then emptiness and compassion help you reach your goal. That's the best. I understand your question. I think that's how I would connect them. Like the 10 seeds or Bodhisattva vow. 10 seeds? Oh, you mean the top 10 good deeds? 10 seeds or Bodhisattva vow? I don't know if I understand the question here, Joey. 10 seeds or Bodhisattva vows. Can you please write a bit more? In the meantime, I'll go into the Q&A. Let's see. Mercer Luo asks, hi, Seiji, I understand now that all logic I have, including all results of my logic, are coming from my seeds. However, what if my logic, which coming from my seeds, gives me complete different ideas or answers from what we learn in Buddhism? Most importantly, I cannot be aware that my logic is wrong. Ooh. Yes, Mercer, thank you for asking this question. To be honest, I've had this problem. The Buddhist type of logic is a very specific, is not necessarily the type of logic that we learn in school, at least in the Western world. It takes time, but I have to say I've started to understand a little bit more by going to these classes, particularly. So Gang's text last time it was all in the form of debate. What else? Learning, I would say the first step to get there is to study syllogisms and how to get to a logical conclusion. And to be honest, I'm not the best person to talk about syllogisms, but I'll tell you what I know, right? So you have a subject, what you're trying to prove, and then the reason, right? So you're always trying to, for example, the classical thing that Geshe Michael says is, let's take a restaurant that we're going to go tonight. No, sorry. Take the Japanese restaurant that we're going to tonight. We should go there, which is what you want to prove, because the food there is delicious, right? So take the Japanese restaurant. We should go there because it has delicious food. So 2 has to somehow convince the audience. 3 has to convince the audience of 2. If it doesn't, then you need to change it. And you have 2 options, right? You say either you proved it, you didn't prove it. 3 options: you prove it, you didn't prove it, or what you're saying is right, but it does not prove what you're trying to achieve. Again, this is as far as I can explain to you. If you want to get to know more about syllogisms and logic, I really, really recommend you go to someone like Word, for example. It seems that he's starting this debating program, which sounds amazing, honestly. But yeah, that's what I would say. How can you be aware that your logic is wrong? Well, another thing that I like to think about is, I don't know, in these books, it's especially when they're using logic, sometimes they're if the debater is very smart, they can end up diverting the argument in a different direction. So it makes it harder for us who are just starting to learn logic. So you're not alone. This happens to a lot of people. I know at least it happens to me. So the answer would be just try to learn a little bit more. Who's really good at that? Nick is really good. Ben is a master of logic. Word is really good. So just keep learning about Buddhist logic. It's slightly different to at least what I learned, but if you keep going, you'll get closer there. And I have to say, I have gotten a little bit closer, not where I want, but this is just after 4 years of being in the mixed knot. So yes, that would be my answer. Okay, question in the chat. Commitment equal vows. Oh, commitment, vows, connection between logic, commitment. Yeah, I would still would say the same. If you're saying commitment in terms of vows, the vows actually have a mixture, I would say, between compassion and emptiness, because they're all about telling us if we want to reach liberation, we should avoid these things or we should do these things. And most often those vows are thought of with, first of all, compassion, because that's what a bodhisattva is, or when you say bodhisattva vows. And second one, they should all also, at least the way that I see them, most of the vows get you closer to a deeper understanding of emptiness. So that's how I would say is there's a connection between logic, commitment, emptiness, and compassion. Cool. All right. Okay. We might be done early. Yay.
So fast.
Oh, there's only 32. Okay. Cool. Well,
I have a question.
I'll stay here for. Oh, Anatole, you have a question for me? Okay, tell me.
Right. It seems like this term we've been talking so much about judging people with the logic text. I think it's like saying that you shouldn't judge people if you're not omniscient. And then we have how to judge someone to see if you should teach them emptiness or not. And then I think in your text we have like if somebody did something bad in the past, we shouldn't judge them based on that, but we should judge them. We should judge them though based on what they're doing in the present. And then finally, I think we have something like you reach a certain level where when you're teaching, you don't really care you don't mind it if people listen or they don't listen. You keep a certain like superpower, I think in Ben's book, that you reach when you're not affected by whether people seem to be listening or not listening. So I guess that's a kind of even another kind of judgment where it seems like people could be judging you, but it doesn't affect you. So out of all those, so many themes about judgment, and we remember that almost maybe one of the most beautiful ones was in your text about the past. And I don't know, I just wanted to see if supposedly there's no contradiction in all those ideas, but how would you put them together?
Oh God, how to put all of them together? Anatole, let me see. Okay. So I think I can. Can you remind me? So we have judgment because we don't know what they are. We had judgment because what's the other one? The one in Ben's text. When people don't listen to your class, you said?
Oh, judging people because of something they did in the past, judging them to teach them emptiness.
Oh, right. Oof. I don't know if I can really connect them. So I don't know. I guess it would be, well, in my text. Let's start with that one, which is the one that I somehow understand, right? So one of the cool things, and you know this, Anatole, one of the cool things that I think we should translate at some point are the Jataka tales, which are amazing. It's all the stories of the Buddha in his past lives and all the things that he did. Most of the stories you have a character that is doing something often wrong, and then at the end the Buddha says, "Oh, that was me, by the way, and it's because of that that this happened," you know. And then you have, so I like hearing about those. I've only heard a few, but I like hearing about those because it somehow it makes me feel hope, I guess, that she at some point were at the exact same point where I am. So it's kind of good to stop judging other people's and yourself, right? So it's like, okay, you know, we're all somehow in the path. Maybe it will take me a bit longer than the Buddha, but I'll get there eventually. So I think that for me, when I read that in my text, I was very, very relieved, I guess. And of course, I think the practice is more difficult than the theory, right? It's easy to say I'm not going to judge people, but the first thing when someone starts speaking is this. But I think it's good for me. Those are remind me to. I'll try to use them to not judge people. In terms of explaining emptiness to them, judging if someone is ready to hear emptiness. I like something that Geshe-la said that, I mean, yes, of course, you have to check for all these things, but at the end of the day, it's always your judgment whether the person is ready to hear about emptiness. You know, there's a concept that we have in DCI to change the way that we see people. I mean, people could be afflicted or pretend that they're afflicted. How can you know which one it is? You can't. So I think for that, something that helps me calm down is, okay, try to do the best you can to see if the person is ready, and then going to an explanation of emptiness. And like Geshe Michael said, I think it's always safe to go the DCI way. You explain it to husbands, depend, something that is very easy for people to understand. How would you connect that to not judging people from the past? I don't know, maybe the connection between those two, Anatole, I would think is the trying to see people as special people that are helping you somehow, you know? Maybe there's a third scenario where this is a Buddha trying to help you bring up these minds of judgment, these thoughts of judgment into your mind. And maybe that same person is another Buddha trying to make you go through this exercise of oh, okay, I need to check if this person is ready for me to teach emptiness. That's the only thing I've got. Now, the other one, what was the other type of judgment? The one about teaching your students, right?
I think the superpowers, right? Like when people judge your teaching, and then you have the superpower that it doesn't affect your teaching.
I have this all the time because, to be honest, I'm out of all the mixed nuts, I feel like I'm the most green one, the most basic. So this happens to me all the time. And I think, you know what, Anatole, I think again, I would go back to changing the perception I have of the people, because if I try to see them as someone special, maybe they're trying to help me get through nervousness and develop this superpower. And here I like something that a friend told me, Peter, a friend from Austria. He told me, when you're teaching, it's not about you, it's about you being the connection between the past Buddhas and then the future Buddhas who are still not here. So I don't know, the connection between all of them, I would say, just thinking out loud right now, it would be that maybe we can have this extraordinary view of people and to help our judgment. I don't know, what do you think?
I like that perspective that you took it to the extraordinary view. It's really, it really connects them and solves the question. I guess what came up in my mind while you were talking was, because I've just been thinking about it, just wanted to hear your thoughts. But what came up when you were talking about it was that maybe something about how to keep bringing it back to how things are coming from us, how it's coming from our seeds. So in the case of, like, I guess, like, should you judge another person? Well, you shouldn't. I mean, unless you're some omniscient being who has the ability to help them from their perspective, then the main thing you should focus on is what you're seeing is coming from you. So in that way, you don't judge them as a self-existent person, you know, who has bad or good qualities. You kind of judge them from. So if you had the view that things are coming from your seeds, I guess it would solve that problem pretty easily. About judging another person, because you'd just be judging yourself, and that's fine. And then as far as judging when to teach them emptiness, then it would be the same. It would be something like, if they're not ready, that's also coming from you. So it wouldn't be such a big deal to try to change that fact by changing your seeds, so that the next time you go to teach people, they seem more receptive or more ready to hear emptiness. Because that would just, so somehow something about like always taking it back to yourself, and not feeling like there's a contradiction between, should I judge people or should I not judge people? Well, sometimes you should judge them, like when you're teaching emptiness. Sometimes you shouldn't judge them when you're trying to see if they're a good person or a bad person in general. But in the end, if you just judge that whatever you see is coming from you, probably you have all your bases covered. That's what came up for me when you were talking.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I mean, yeah, cool. Thank you. I think you answered your question. That's awesome.
While you were talking with cherry on
part
top,
of it.
while you were talking, but with cherry on the top from you.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let me see, Q&A.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Amigo Seiji. Yeah, I want
Dímelo.
I want to know why you think your text, because I think your text is cataloged as a tantric text, like a secret teaching. It's, I think. So why you think it is secret and it's not an open teaching? If it's talking like the thing you always repeat, like I dance in the skull, what is my misunderstanding and self-cherishing, right? Those are the two things that you're always dancing over them, you know. But why do you think this should be secret, or what do you think, if it is secret, you're like letting everybody know, maybe they're prepared to hear it? I don't know why if I'm making.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I actually asked this to Geshe Michael, because both the root text and let me I want to read you Geshe Michael's translation of that. Is beautiful. It says, "With a roar of hell, smashing out the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life, bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy." I mean, that's pretty cool. I love how Geshe translated that part. And traditionally, this text is completely open. It's open teachings. I know that Lojong at some point was secret, but not because it was Tantra, just it was secret because of, I don't know, circumstances of the moment. Particularly with this text, that it does have a lot of tantric content. I like how this text presents what they call the Butcher of Lord of Death, and we talked about this, I think, on the second term, and for me it really showed me a different way of seeing bodhicitta. The first time I heard about this concept, right, of ultimate love and ultimate compassion, I think it's very easy to, well, for me, I was thinking more in the happy and on the hippie way of love. You know, it's like I was imagining people holding hands, giving each other flowers. But one of the things that this text says was that the greatest bodhisattva there is this butcher of the Lord of Death, which is amazing. And it was saying that one of the qualities that this has is that he is kind of wrathful. So because what this book says is that he is the representative of bodhicitta. He's like the greatest practitioner of bodhicitta, which to me, it completely switched my mind, I guess, because I don't know, you see the paintings and it looks like a demon or something. But something that I like about what this book says, and which is again an open book which has some little sprinkles of the secret teachings, is that it sets you up, I think, on the perfect grounds for understanding a little bit more, getting you a good basis to understand this butcher that we're talking about, right? That he cares so much about people that he's wrathful for taking self-cherishing out of you and out of the people that you see. So I think to be honest, I think, well, I mean, technically Geshe-la says that if a book has a little bit of content of Tantra, it is a tantric book, but I think it's more like a preparation somehow. It's not exactly, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a full-on Tantra book and I haven't realized it, but in my current perception, it's like the perfect basis that sets you up to understand well who this butcher is, which is the greatest bodhisattva there is. So I think I really like it. Thanks for asking the question. I know that you set me up on purpose, but thank you. Okay. Isabel, I have been struggling on the thought of the cause and effect. Oh my God. I've been asking this question to Geshe-la. The cause and effect is also empty. And how can we really follow the cause and effect? I didn't quite understand about this question yet. Thank you, Seiji, if you could help me on this. To be honest, Isabel, this is something that I'm still struggling with. I can tell you though, what last year I had the rare opportunity to ask Geshe-la a lot of questions because we're doing all the DCI events. So in the breaks, I would bombard him with questions. So, the laws of karma, right? Which is what you're saying, cause and effect. It seems that they are true for everybody, no matter how, who you are, what you do. No, it doesn't matter if you're an amoeba, it still affects you. And it's kind of weird because I understand your question perfectly because I have been asking Geshe-la this question and I haven't been able to get far, but it seems that it's almost a self-existing thing, right? That it's there and it affects everyone. Even the Buddhas cannot get rid of this cause and effect. So something that the furthest I've gone, and this, I know, Isabel, that this is by far, this is not an answer. But again, this is as far as I've gotten, is when I don't know if I think, yeah, you've been to DCI level 7. When we're talking about the emptiness of emptiness, so that how can you, how, for example, your mind, who is a changing thing, can ever make contact with something that is unchanging, is that if a changing thing does the same pattern over and over again, it's made of changing things, but it mimics the unchanging part. Now, how does this relate to this? That you start to think, okay, so so that these even that is ruled by oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. That we're always planting these oh, I got it seeds for things to be almost seem unchanging, right? I mean, in terms of emptiness, definitely unchanging. Laws of cause and effect, I would say, are probably, to my understanding, they're also unchanging. So as far as I've gotten is one time Geshe-la, someone asked this question to Geshe-la, and he was saying that we were constantly planting these by this instinct that we have, right? Yeah, like the fountain thing, that this instinct that we have, that even an amoeba has, that, for example, if you see danger, you move. And this is the part that I am stuck with. So I don't understand how this answer relates to that. But this, he said that what plants these steady laws of cause and effect is the most basic instinct that we all have, that an amoeba has, right? Of you see danger and you move. And honestly, Isabel, that's as far as I've gotten. I'm still chewing on that one. I mean, I can see the logic that it would have to be something that the smallest thing, like an amoeba, would be planting constantly for something to ripen, like an unchanging thing, right? Like the laws of cause and effect. But to be honest, I haven't gotten further than that. So I'm sorry, this is a super hard question that I think you should ask Michael. Yeah. Alex, do you have anything to say about that? I know that Alex is really interested in this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about the changing thing about the cause and effect. I think of course it's changing for me because it caused something, it has to change, right? But they seem to be, like you said, like something that it's there always, you know. So, but I think it has to be because one part of the coin is emptiness, and the other side of the coin is cause and effect. So you couldn't. How do you eliminate it? You know, you can take out emptiness, so you can't take out cause and effect. I see it like that. So and because things are empty, that's why cause and effect exist, because things must exist some way, because they are there. You know, we are touching everything and causing everything and watching and experiencing things, but it has to be there. So what else will be there if there was no cause and effect in the other side of the coin? I thought it like that. So that's why it's almost like the same as emptiness, that it's always there. For me, it's like, and the moment you take it out, that's emptiness, and you see like how things exist. But then you are out of it, and you keep seeing things like that, like cause and effect. But now my thinking is for Buddhas, as you say, because they we say that they the whole time perceive emptiness, right? I think, but they also are experiencing cause and effect at the same time. Do you know if that's right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's kind of, but it's weird, but it's logic for me. It's like it has to be there. You know?
Mm-hmm. The thing that bugs me, and I think it's the same thing that Isabel is talking about, is that even emptiness comes from seeds, right? This is Isabel, by the way, this is another question that I asked Geshe-la. Emptiness comes from seeds. So in a way, emptiness is caused. I mean, technically no, but in a way it is. If it comes from seeds ripening, because everything comes from seeds, then and again, the closest I've gotten is this explanation of to plan something unchanging with something changing, it has to be a pattern that repeats, I guess, because that's the only way that you could create in my opinion, the only way that you could create an unchanging thing. Emptiness is an unchanging thing. And traditionally, they say unchanging things are not caused. Correct. Yes, Catherine said it does not depend on causes, but it does come from seeds. If it does not come from seeds, then it's self-existent. So it's weird. And this is another question that I've asked Geshe Michael, and he's, I don't know. I haven't been able to really understand. Hey. Hey, Noor. Do share with us when you get the answer. This might be in a few years, Isabel, so I will definitely share when I know the answer, but it might take a few years. Maybe you will find the answer before, so you share with me, please. Yeah? Oh, did someone talk?
It was me. I said hi.
Hey.
Hi. We were listening with Connie, and now I connected here. Maitri has a question, but I don't understand yet.
Drink milk. That's the answer.
He is listening to you and doing this. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We are listening. Good luck.
Congratulations, you both.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. All right, cool. I think okay, new first steps department mom. Yay. Okay, well, I will stay here for a little while. Feel free to ask any questions. If not, you're more than free to go on with your day. Have a great morning in Asia, which right now is 10:44. So oh, and sorry, Joel, I just realized that I was speaking a little bit fast. Sorry about that. Oh, question from Catherine. Emptiness is the nature of things. Can we say that? The nature of things. I don't think, I mean, technically, I don't think you could say that because things are empty, meaning they are lacking a self-nature. So I would say nature is not the word. I tend to think as things having emptiness as opposed to being empty. Emptiness is the nature of things.
Can I say something?
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because the definition is that emptiness is the lack of any nature of their own. But I don't know if you can say that that's a nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, all things have emptiness, even emptiness itself. Right. So it would be a fallacy to say that emptiness is the nature of things, since things have no nature. Is Buddha unchanging thing, but also coming from our seeds? No, I don't think no. as far as I know, a Buddha is not unchanging. No, a Buddha is definitely not unchanging. The fact that he's enlightened is unchanging, but the Buddha itself is not unchanging. Coming from our seeds, yes. I know this one for me is kind of hard because it's, yeah. For example, the I don't know if this is your question, Mercer Luo, but for me, I asked this myself a lot. So the Buddhas are, it might be the case that I have Buddhas all around me, but I cannot see them. Does that mean that they don't exist? So traditionally, yes, they definitely come from your seeds. But whether you have also the seeds to see them as a Buddha is a different thing. I would say that. Like Nagarjuna debate, no position. Yay. In the Pen story, we know people and Puppy are both correct. How to be sure what we understand is the truth? Oh, that's a great, great question. Well, going back to what we're talking with Isabel here, I don't think there is a truth, right? Because when you say truth like that, you kind of are seeing the truth as a self-existing thing. Now, in this case, for example, they're both true. So there is no truth, you know what I mean? If you go back to the pen story, you see the pen and the puppy sees the chew toy, and they're both true. It's I don't think there's like one or the other is true. They're both true. How to be sure what we understand is the truth? I would say that the main thing of this is always keep yourself with these two wings that we're talking about before. Always make sure that whatever you're learning and whatever you're practicing or teaching has the wing of emptiness, of understanding where things are coming from, and the wing of bodhicitta, or the purpose of these is so that it can help people. I think that's a good compass to know if we should take on a practice or a teaching or not. Does it have these two elements, emptiness and bodhicitta? Because there is no truth, right? I mean, going back to the pen and the chew toy, they're both true. Okay, Ella. Hi, Ella. We usually say emptiness and dependence are two sides of one coin. How could emptiness as a lack come from something like cease that is positive? Right. Oh, this is a really cool, really cool question. And actually, I learned this talking with my friend Nick and with Hasso, actually. And this is something, again, that I am still chewing. As far as I've gotten is if emptiness is a lack, then it does not exist. But it doesn't mean that emptiness doesn't exist. The fact that that things have no self nature, that concept does exist, but a lack cannot exist because it's a lack. You know what I mean? So that's when you get into more specific into the different parts, right? Emptiness itself is a lack. So again, it cannot exist, but the fact that things have no nature, that exists. So that's the way that I understand it, Ella. So the seeds, to take it back to your language in this question, is the seeds are creating this principle, let's say. but emptiness itself does not exist. But don't quote me on this. Just like it doesn't exist because it's a lack. So you have to be very, very careful if someone asks you this, because you cannot say that emptiness doesn't exist. You say if something is a lack, it means there is not there. Therefore, it doesn't exist. So yeah. Isabel. Question from Isabel. Question from Candy. My understanding about emptiness is only a concept. And this concept is only observable by a human. So I could understand the understanding about the emptiness of... Yes, definitely, Candy. That's actually what we're doing, why we are all here for, to understand more emptiness by planting seeds through the different books, right? Learning to meditate on emptiness, learning to develop a strong heart, learning about the different schools, about dependent origination, Abhidharma, etc., etc. And ultimately logic, which they say logic, and particularly Chedrak, is what opens the door to having the direct perception of emptiness. From Candy, I want to know whether understanding is right. I think emptiness is just same question. All right.
And there is another question.
Oh, okay.
From Alisa. So it's in Chinese, so I would like to translate for that.
Oh,
here
thanks, Catherine.
It says, yes. I want to know how can I understand rightly about the two things, which is not attached to and no position, the differences between these two. So, and these two, how these two can affect our life.
Not attached to a no position. You're talking about Nick's text.
Have no idea. It's just a question here. It says that.
Attachment and opposition. I think you are. This is, again, I'm sorry that you got me today, because these are really, really difficult questions. The way that I understand it, and if I'm correct, Alisa, you're quoting from Nick's text where they're saying that they cannot take a position, and they're talking about they could not take a position because taking a position would be assigning some level of self-existence to a position. Therefore, he cannot take a position. But it doesn't mean that he couldn't say what other views or other lower schools, let's say, were saying that were not wrong or judging, right? So, no attachment, no position. The difference between no attachment and no position. Well, no position would be that. No attachment, to be honest, I don't remember specifically what no attachment meant in Nick's text. But if you're talking in general about no attachment, it would be about no ignorant desire, right? Or no ignorant attachment, which would be the same thing, right? Wanting things is not a bad thing as long as we know how to get them, if we understand that they're empty or that they don't have a self nature. So actually these two relate in the sense that in the text, like taking no position would be not thinking of the position as something that is out there independent of our seeds. And in terms of no attachment, taking it back to the general understanding of attachment is not getting attached to things that are coming from themselves. So one of the cool things that I like about DCI, for example, is that Geshe Michael made this distinction very clear. is okay to want things as long as you do the right thing to get them, if you understand the nature of how they think. So I would say that's how they two relate. How do they affect our life? To be honest, the no position thing is something that is super, super advanced, in my opinion. It's kind of when we're talking about Baba Viveka's point of view in Ben Kramer's text, previous text, I think like 4 sessions ago. He was talking about saying that in the scripture, they should have put, for example, things don't exist, and he would say self-existently. And then the big debate that they had against this is that when you say there's no need to say self-existently, because you're always, by saying that, you're giving too much power to the word, therefore seeing it as something that exists on its own side. But this is getting into very, very, very subtle, very, very subtle technicalities that are good to know. How do these affect our lives? Well, attachment is easier, right? That's it's okay to want things as long as it doesn't, well, first, as long as we don't hurt other people to get them, meaning if you switch it, if we know how to get them, and by planting the seeds, we can get whatever we want. So that's how does this affect our life? We can have everything we want without perpetuating this cycle, which is hard, to be honest. But if we always keep going back to where things come from, it can only help your life. The no position part, how does this affect our life? I guess, I got an answer for that. It's always trying to see the deeper and deeper layers of emptiness. It comes to a point where even words, we assign words or concepts an existence on their own. So it's the no position thing for me. It's reminding me to understand that not even words or concepts have a self nature, is what I assign to them through my seeds from the past. So that's how I think this affect our life. It's the no position one is more subtle, but in general, I would say it's about taking emptiness deeper and deeper. Trying to see that there's nothing that does not come from seeds. Now, if you want something that a meditation that is really, really cool. Again, sorry for bringing everything back to DCI. This is what I live and breathe every day. Is the 4-space meditation. It's really, really cool, where you see yourself, you imagine yourself sitting on a grass hill, looking at the blue sky and then the trees. And this meditation is about taking all the things that emptiness is not, right? That all the things that come from seeds, you start to take them away. So you take the blue sky and then the trees, and then the grass on your back. Then you're in outer space, and then you take the earth that is underneath you, because it comes from seeds as well. And then the space, the outer space also comes from you, so you take that away. So you're like kind of floating in the middle of nowhere, and your body is also made from seeds, so you take that away. Kind of like in the lion stance, you go deeper, taking the things that come from your seeds. Then what is left is just your mind. Then that mind has to come from seeds, so you take that away. And in the end, it's just seeds projecting other seeds. And I think that relates to me to this no position thing, to remind me of always trying to take emptiness to the smallest thing I can. The smallest thing I've arrived is seeds, projecting other seeds that project a brain, that project a mind, that project a self, that project the body, blah, 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 everything else. So it's cool because you can do this meditation backwards and forwards. And I don't know if I made it more complicated, but check out the 4 meditations, 4 spaces meditation is really, really cool. Yes, 4-space meditation, DCI level 7. Really, really cool. Okay. I think we finished with the Q&A. Thank you all very much for coming here. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great morning, those of you who are in Asia. Have a good night for all of you in Mexico, US, etc.
Gracias, Seiji.
Gracias a ti.
Eres el mejor.
Nos vemos.